If you like isolation and beautiful scenery, the west coast of Scotland is a perfect cruising ground. But that comes with some trade-offs. There aren't many shops, and deliveries take significantly longer to arrive than usual, if they can reach you at all. The areas we'd been in up until this point were already pretty remote, but as we headed further north, even the limited facilities we'd been getting used to were becoming fewer and further between. We'd been in such a race to get up to Scotland that we'd not had the chance to finish a few jobs that were now getting pretty urgent. So as Craobh Marina has the last well-stocked chandlery we'd see for a few months, this was going to be a good place for us to hunker down and get to work. We'd just had to tear ourselves away from the beautiful scenery and make it there first. After having a great few days on the island of Gigha, it was time to sail 30 miles to Craobh Haven. Our route took us between the island of Jura and the mainland, giving us some beautiful views and calm-protected waters to sail through. A combination that made the west coast of Scotland such a great place to sail despite the weather.
How are we doing today, Laura?
Good. We left our anchorage on here about 8 o'clock and put the downward sail, and then the motor, upward sail. We thought that the boat was on fire, but it turned out it's just a coal steamer. It kept us on our toes. Now it's sunny, a bit of rain, a bit of sun, a bit of wind, no wind.
Classic Scottish sail.
Yeah, never dull either. I'll get some crush bits.
All the guillemots.
Good morning. We are doing a day of boat jobs today, and I have managed to persuade Stu to sit down for approximately 2 minutes to tell you what we're doing. So what boat jobs are we doing today?
We've got a pretty long list, so we need to replace our anchor, which is going to involve making sure that the new one fits, putting in shackle, got to figure out how to cut the chain. After that, we're going to wire up the solar panels, so got to install the PV breaker, run the cables through some cable seals in the transom. Might be a little bit too wet for that. We'll see how it goes. And
fix the shunts, the battery monitor. So we've been sailing around without a battery monitor for a little while. So hopefully we will be able to see how charged our batteries are and actually charge them up with solar panels by the end of today. But it's ambitious, so let's see how we get on.
Yeah, exactly.
Our new anchor had spent the last month under the saloon table, so it was time to install it. When all your stuff is being held in place by a single piece of metal, you really want to have the best anchor that you can buy. We decided to upgrade to a spade anchor, which should hold well in the thick forests of seaweed that we'd find in Scottish anchorages.
First trip to the chandlery of the day. Oh, just time for the second chandlery trip of the day.
Later in the summer, we did experience a few nights with really intense winds, so this is an upgrade that I was really pleased we made.
In my cave.
Yeah.
I'm kind of cozy down here, to be honest. So now we're doing the solar panel install, which involves running some cable through into this compartment down here. Had to remove everything from the last. There's like a fiberglass housing that goes over this. And because it's rare that we look under that fiberglass housing, we figured it might as well just take a look around. One thing I noticed is that we may have found the source of some water that we were discovering in the bilge in some of our early passages. So this is the top of the rudder. That's the rudder stock coming through the bottom of the boat. At some points, a previous owner really beefed up this whole housing, and you can see that it's got these very nice looking sort of fiberglass knees. But all the way around this housing, there is a little bit of moisture and a lot of salt water, a lot of salt crystals. So I'm fairly sure that that's where water is coming in from. Everything else seems pretty sturdy, pretty pleased with it. Not seeing any like delamination or cracks anywhere else. So yeah. But I digress. Talking about the solar panel install, we're basically going to run it through this conduit right here. And then, yeah, I'm not sure exactly where it will run inside here, but eventually it will go out a cable seal at the back. Capturing my shame.
I am, yes.
Yeah, I think I need longer black cable as well. Bought the longer red one, not the longer black one.
What did I ask you while we were in the chandlery?
Whether I needed more black, and I said no, but the answer was yes.
What number trip to the chandlery does that make this?
9.
I think
8,
it is number 9.
9. Across both of us, definitely approaching double digit.
They're loving us in there today.
Yeah, well, so be it. Right.
Right, off you pop then.
Might as well do it right now, eh?
In the end, I realized that the final section of the cables was going to run outside the hull to the solar panels. The thin insulation on that cable that we'd bought was not going to stand up to the sun, and so we ordered some new cable to Oban and we finished the rest of the install there. It was our first experience with these cable seals, and I think it all turned out pretty great.
Been doing the solar panels, wiring up the solar panels, which involved installing some cable seals and pulling the cables through, which has been more of an adventure than I expected. But yeah, ready to put the MC4 connectors on, which are the little connectors that connect to the solar panels, and wire up this switch, and then we've got some solar, which is good. Trying to get this BMV working, our battery monitor. It's been a bit of a journey. I don't know if we've spoken to camera about this, but when we first installed it, it was giving some funky readings, and I think it's because we pulled too hard on the cable when we were pulling it through. So bought a bunch of these RJ12 heads after much experimentation, managed to splice them on, and then it wasn't showing any reading at all. But I've just discovered that the sense cable that the shunt uses to sense the voltage on the battery, I think the fuse is blown, so I've replaced it, but now I've realized that the ordering of the little cables in here is wrong. So when I plug this in, it turns on. So I've unplugged it over there, but it's giving some garbage readings again. So for the 18th time, I have to cut this head off and redo that bloody RJ12 head. And I know the ordering of these basically by heart.
Meanwhile, my job this morning is to take apart the manual bilge pump and do a bit of a service on it and replace all of the rubber parts. So we spent many hours on our anniversary rerunning a new manual bilge pipe, only to find that actually the pump isn't priming, so needs some work on that. So yeah, classic, says Stu. So we'll see if doing the service kit actually works for it. I think we'll probably think it's about a 50-50 chance that this will solve the problem, but we might need to just get a full manual bilge pump. So we're going in with low expectations that it's not actually going to solve the problem, and we'll see how it pans out. What's that?
Look at this. We've got voltage.
Oh my god, voltage! That looks sensible!
And it looks sensible, yeah.
Have we got power going out as well? No. Yes. Yay!
So I think we should be good.
What's that? 2 out of 2 projects done at 10:03.
Woohoo! Oh man, it's like so funny, these projects. Sometimes you think that they're never going to end, and then they're done. They finish.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, actually we don't need to replace anything on the bilge pump at all.
Yeah.
One of the seals is caught in another one of the seals.
Yeah, gosh. And the thing's working. It just required a bit of fiddling.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the rest of the water
right,
out of here.
Yeah, let's finish cleaning up then. We spoke too soon.
as we tried to pump out the rest of the water that we put in the bilge, we will find out that while we fixed the manual bilge pump, the electric bilge pump is now not working. So first step in diagnosing the bilge pump is we're cleaning out the little strainer that comes with it that was just absolutely full of hair. I'll keep our fingers crossed that this is an easy fix too, but I think we've used up our easy fix luck for today.
After a lot of troubleshooting, we resorted to replacing the pump entirely. This pump is both our main bilge pump and pumps out our shower water, so we didn't want to take any chances with it breaking again, and the chandlery had an almost exact replacement ready to go.
Good morning. We are heading out from Craobh Marina today, where we've been for a couple of days, and we've actually got a little bit of time to spare before we need to leave because of the way that the tides are flowing in this area. We aren't actually able to leave and get through the channel that we need to get through until about 3 o'clock. So yeah, with the little bit of time that I've got, I am going to prepare some food both for lunch and for dinner this evening, and generally just make sure that the fresh-ish provisions that we've got will still last us for the next couple of days. So while there is a shop here, it didn't really have anything fresh in it, so we are down to some manky carrots, some potatoes, a little bit of kale, and like an old cucumber and an old courgette, both of which have seen better days. So I'm going to pickle some of the vegetables, I'm going to pre-cook some meals, and I'm going to try and make what little vegetables we have stretch a little bit longer.
I'm making a quick pickle here, which doesn't fully preserve the vegetables, so still needs to be kept in the fridge, but it is super easy and good for keeping vegetables slightly longer than they would normally last. I'll add the pickles on top of pretty much any meal that involves rice or potatoes, or put them in sandwiches.
So first attempt at pickling on the boat. On the left I've got some cucumber with some Korean chili flakes, and on the right some carrots, and for the pickling liquid I've just used a 50-50 mix of white wine vinegar and water with quite a lot of salt and some honey because I couldn't be bothered to get the sugar out of the bilge. So we'll see how it goes with honey.
Then I moved on to prepping lunch. I'd stocked up on jarred and tinned vegetables, and one of our favourite ways to use them is on rye bread, as an open sandwich with some beans, tomato paste and shallots. This is very loosely based on a Maltese sandwich called a fatira, which usually has tuna and goat's cheese in it, but we had halloumi instead. While I was at the stove, I also fried up some courgettes to add to some pasta for dinner later on.
Thanks for watching. Join us next time as we tackle another intense tidal stream, head to Loch Spelv and discover some of Scotland's best fresh seafood.